Dan here, DD Speed Shop. Have I won you over yet? Did I say it's from my father? I'm trying to get his love back. 75. New. Bricklin. SV-1. Safety vehicle. We left it last. We had kind of done some screwing around, got the interior together, a little bit of fiberglass work, got the doors working. And now we're going to do a bit of a tune-up. The goal for this thing is probably do another couple of videos on it, and then ultimately it's waiting on parts and things and items, and I like to change my mind, as you guys like to let me know in the comment section. So we gotta make it run right. It needs some timing set up in it, maybe clean some wiring up, stuff like that. Plugs, wires, you know, odds and ends, put some gas in it, change the fuel filter, just basics. Then I got to give lifts to Murr because he has to track down what we need for brakes and stuff like that, but that's future Dan's problem. Current Dan is working on that. A few things I found. I ordered these actually switches off Amazon. I put in the door actuators and I put them in, well, switches. They were toggles, and what we want is a spring-loaded one. So it's always off unless you're holding it. It's up, down, up, down. So we'll put those in, 3 screws, super simple. Now, I bought this for my tow truck there probably last year, and it was gonna be a real light duty deal. I thought just in case we're not running air tools by any means, we're simply just airing up a tire. So what it is, it's a little onboard air kit and a little tank. Maybe you could use it for like airbags if you're doing that. And the kind of, you know, a little miscellaneous kit. So the only thing is the tanks on this car are probably, you know, not quite as wide and bigger. So I bet they're probably 2, maybe 3 gallon tanks, and there's 2 of them. And it has a little tiny compressor up front. Now, we could play with trying to make it all work. The one tank is rotten. We know that. I was thinking, I've had all sorts of thoughts. Pull that one tank out, take a look at it. Maybe I can plate it and weld it, just put it back together and it'd be fine. And then kind of carry on from there. It has a real goofy system. Like there's all sorts of, I think, extra stuff. Like it's got like this style switch to turn it on and off. Or the power goes through, it's got a gauge on it. I guess that's kind of handy. Then it went into here. And I don't know if you'll be able to see down there, but there's a little pressure switch and the air compressor on it there. And it did actually work. It kicked on anyways. So the real simple way of these things, I believe the way I'm gonna wire it is it'll have constant power. I might put a toggle in it just cause it doesn't kill the battery, but we do need this thing to have air at all times. Because if the windows are up, the doors are latched, the deck lid is closed. This is actually supposed to have a way to get in from the outside, which we got to modify that. So worst case, you can always get in, crawl in. But realistically, the only way to get in this thing is with this switch. This switch controls the ram as well as the latch to open the door. Well, if the battery is dead, we're out of air, we're going to have problems, right? And we love problems around here, but we can avoid them if possible. So we're also going to probably put a easy way to jump this thing and maybe a night switch to kill all the power and stuff. But for right now, we're going to wire it full 12 volt. Now, it's a very simple setup. This is our little compressor. We're going to plumb it into a tank, and then it just has its wire, a little bit of plastic airline, and some kind of quick connect deals. Let's do mount the compressor. The way the whole deal works is this pressure switch. So you have 12 volts running to it, and then this only kicks on. This one says on it 90 and kicks off at 120, which means it'll charge this tank up to 120 psi. It'll let you use air until it gets below 90. Below 90, it'll then kick the compressor back on. And then we have a couple of these, a drain connection. This is a blow off, which is good for, it says on it, 145. This tank says it's good to 150. So we're in the range. When I was running this thing, I had my compressor regulated down to call it 125-ish, in that range. 110 to 120, you know, where it was kind of kicking on and off. That's about, I think, what we want in these doors. So that'll all work out where simply it's a capacity thing. Now, honestly, those two tanks probably aren't too bad. I'm finding out where I want to put this little compressor, because it's going to be kind of noisy and annoying. So if we put it under the seat, we might hear it, like under the car. Up front, unfortunately, probably is the best spot. And we do have a lot of hardline run. We just have to run 12 volts to it. And the pressure switch, we have to run 12 volts to the pressure switch, wherever we decide to put that in the tank or whatever, and then run 12 volts to this and kind of carry on. So very simple, but I got to think out how I want to do this and make sure I'm happy with it. So I think step one, we'll jack this thing up. We'll maybe pull that one air tank out, just see what it looks like. Because if it's really bad, then so be it. But otherwise, if everything else just works, we might just kind of plumb that in on like a hidden toggle and then just kind of be done with it for right now. And then if Murr wants to change it later, he can. I'd hate to break this kit up for no reason if I'm only going to use one or two pieces of it. I mean, it was cheap off Amazon, but still. We're broke here. We're buying supercars. I'm going to get it up. I'm going to think about it for a little, and we'll kind of carry on. All right, well, laziness has entered the chat. So we got this tank out. Remember I told you they always, probably in the last video, they rot out. It does have one little kind of pinhole in it. I'm going to see if I can just weld that. The rest of the tank looks okay, but you never know. But if I weld that in, we'll know right away if it goes blah into a bunch, it'll be a problem, but kind of give it a smack with a hammer. It's okay. It's got a big dent in it. I wonder if it's got some stress cracks or whatever. Maybe that's what caused it, or something hit it, or I don't know what, or punctured it even. It is in a funny spot. It hangs low, so it could have been like lifted up, you know, on a post lift or something like that, because it's right by the leaf spring hanger. Maybe something just, a little rock or something. So see if we can put a little heat to it. And then what I think I might do is, because it has some road rash on it, we'll just, if we can weld a whole square around it, then it'll be like plated and well is kind of fixed. We'll put a little air pressure to it and see if that fixes any problems. Then we'll put it right back in. We'll try this first. This is free dollars, so we'll try it out. It's all plumbed for it. I just gotta make one new line, and it'll be golden. Then all I'd have to do is figure out 12 volts to that compressor up front. Like, hello, lazy. So we'll, that's what we're gonna do. And I already have these toggle switches that I had bought. 3-way, where did I put them? Oh, they're in the car. If I can like put that on there or something like that, be like theft proof, and then right to the battery. Right? All right. Let's weld, grind, cut steel, you know, Monster Garage stuff. Okay, so I actually put a pile of heat in this thing when I did that first little pinhole, and it held it just fine. So I think it was a puncture, not a rust hole. But I did a little plate around. But you have nowhere to really, like I didn't want to clamp to the threads here in case it kind of arced and screwed stuff up. You can just weld your, like the ground right to the piece there. So we did that. I have to remake this because this is what I used just to clamp this tank off originally. So I'll just, I have a couple of ferrules. We'll just reuse the ends and make a little joiner piece. Be no big deal. I gotta make sure I do it the right way though, eh? Anyway, take care of that. I also have to go get a fitting. I must have lost it. There was one in here. I'll have to look around, but just to join it to the ferrule, so like a ferrule to a pipe thread. In here, I'm sure I can probably take one of these off and I'll put a blow-off valve in, because there isn't any in the tanks and there's nothing in anything behind the seat. So I want to make sure we have that. Just because it makes sense. But we can, that could be any time, just like thread it in. We can test it for right now. I'm gonna make this piece. I'll put the tank in. Well, I'm gonna just test it with shop air, make sure it holds pressure right quick before I go too crazy. Then we can start messing around with different fittings and whatnot to see exactly what we have. And we should be okay. Hopefully that pressure switch works, otherwise we can put the other one in somehow, some way, with a little bit of screwing around and save ourselves a bunch of time. And we're keeping it like original to how it was cobbled in like the 80s. New plan, we'll use this tank. Another tank put in there, hooked shop air up to it. It blew a hole in another spot, so I tried welding that up, and I was just like, nah, it's junk. So I capped off the one end, and we still have the other tank, so it's just running on that small tank. I was like, okay, we'll just run on the small tank and carry on. I go up front, and we tested this compressor, but it's not happy. It's not producing any air. It's kind of like it's not happy. So we are going to use this. This is not going to fit underneath. It's too long. So I think I'm going to do, I pulled down the coffee can, which sat on top here. Now I know it's going to block the radiator, but I feel like that did too. I'm going to put this tank on top. It'll actually be lower than the coffee can. But realistically, I think what we have to do here is, obviously the rad is there. Now there's no air, very little getting through there. It's coming underneath. We need to build like a dam and force the air through, not to mention the Delta fan on the wall. We'll probably solve all of our problems. Obviously this rad is not, it came with it, but it might need a little modifications. I'm sure we can get it figured out. These things famously overheated anyways, so we'll figure it out. Here's the plan. We'll drill a couple of holes, secure it down. Well, I'm gonna put the compressor off to this side, I think, just cause. I'll have to build a little tab, something like that. Have it on the side. We'll snag 12 volts from somewhere constant in the car if we can. So that'll be in. We have our release. This will be our pressure switch, turns it on and off, and that'll be out, and it'll just make a line and go into the rest of the system, and then there is actually a drain on the bottom. So very simple setup, and then we'll have the other tank as well. So I assume that's probably a 2 or 3 gallons. We'll have like, 4 or 5 gallons of air on this thing, so that'll probably be filled up. We'll be able to actually put the doors up and down a couple of times without any issues. Yeah, so we'll do that. Try and make sure I have no real leaks and everything. And then now, if this is right up front, we can always just jumper it or whatever we have to do. Or I guess if I hook it up to the battery, I'll just hook it up, jumper it that way. So anyways, I'm yammering. I'm gonna go ahead and get kind of drilling stuff. It's real tight up in here. So I'll put it up in there with a couple of bolts and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. But it should work out okay. Okay, we got it all hooked up and kind of hot wire. There's a lot of stuff happening here. But slowly but surely, we started at 0. We are going up. See if I can do this without knocking the cables off. We are running through the pressure switch. So in theory, it should kick off at 120 or whatever I said. So he's the 12 volt there. All the tank and all that's there. Mounted the compressor there and a little plate. It is isolated. These are all just loose, but we'll tighten that up. It needs a little air filter on it. So really all we gotta do is run 12 volts somewhere with constant power or with a toggle switch or something. How are we doing? We're at 40 now. So we'll let that go, see if it'll click off. In the meantime, I think I have a battery next door for a Tri-5, which should plunk in this, and then we can put like a legit battery in it, then put it down, start playing with the wiring under the hood. Maybe we have some constant power there. That'd be sweet. We can put the toggle switches in the console to actually control the doors with a momentary switch versus a toggle. So you don't gotta, you'll just poof. It's technical, Bricklin terms there. So we'll let that work away. go from there. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. So this little guy got up to like 125 or so, 130 on this gauge. So that's pretty good. Now, this tank has a max of 150, I think I said, or 145. And the gauge, oh yeah, so 120. It goes 90 to 120. I think what we need is something like 110 or 120 to 140, 145 on the maximum side. Simply because I played with it already, but from a air pressure standpoint, put a battery in it. We got the switches proper in there, but so it goes down, and when it goes back up, so that's pretty much all the way up, and that sucked, well, maybe 5 pounds. When I played with it a few times, and you'll be able to see. Okay, so it does it twice. It's just, now we're just starting to have a little bit, where it needs a little bit of help, 3 times. But by the time you start getting there, like now that's, she's struggling. And we're at like 110. So obviously it's not going to kick back on until 90, right? So we need a new pressure switch. Again, it's not terrible, but we want it to be 100%. Drop back down. What's that, like 5 or 6 times maybe? Now we're struggling. So she ain't happy. And we're at 100. So, like I said, if we can get that so it's a new switch, 120 to 145, 150, I'm sure Amazon has that. It should be just fine. Now we're just kind of, there we go. Then it kick back on. So we'll wire that up. I think what I'm going to do, the starter solenoid is down on the side here. If I run 12 volts, like I just have it hooked with the battery pack, but I run a wire to there, and then I can just put a toggle on it. This does leak a little bit of air. I had it sitting for probably a couple hours. I was screwing around, talking phone, burn, all that, and it did kick on. So obviously it's got enough of a leak that you have a bit of a situation. We could put a valve on it. There's all sorts of things we could do, or maybe just fix the air lines. But it fills up pretty quick. So it kicked on, like I said, 90, I think it was. We're already at 110. I don't know how much these things draw from a battery standpoint, but you wouldn't want this to go, you know, obviously if it kicks on 15 times overnight, probably not the greatest. So if we can kill it, we come out to it, have a little toggle, turn it on for the time being, or open a valve. We should be just fine. And now we should be getting close to the, you know, it'll go up. There we go. The other side obviously opens with less pressure, but there's no glass whatsoever in it. The other thing is I don't know, this might help too, and that one is dead on that side. So we gotta figure out if there's a part number here we can figure out. I'm sure it's parts bin, right? Came off of something. So that's that. I'm going to clean up a little bit in here. It's a bit of a disaster. We do have the air system working for the doors like 100%, where I'm confident with it. And now I have these toggles, wrong way, but it'll do its own thing. So, pretty slick as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I want to get this thing running and driving. We'll clean it up, get you outside. Back out in the garage, new day. I kind of cleaned up a little bit in here. Look at that. I'm trying to work cleaner, I am, I promise, even though it's always come across that way. I'm thinking if I can work fast, we'll see. The sun sets so damn early this time of year. But if we can get this thing together enough, I'd like to just take it for a quick ride around the block and maybe put it on pause for a little bit. Another project change. I know, it's my brain. So I set of plug wires on it while we're in there. We'll clean up some of this wiring. It looks like a rat's nest, but I think what kind of happened here, a lot of this I think just got added last minute. I know Derek was having issues when he had it with ignition and then a cooling fan and electric and going back and forth. I'm thinking a lot of it is just kind of left over that kind of has to be addressed. So honestly, we can probably snip a bunch of it out and really have no issues. I'm thinking, so I'll have to trace and just make sure nothing goes to anything specific and kind of clean this up. There's that. The real problem's gonna be frost plugs, or I call them cast plugs. People lost their mind. They're frost plugs. Whatever, they are what they are. I got some of these. The way these work, they're rubber. You jam them in there, you tighten this nut, that collapses it together, which forces the rubber out a little bit. Now, the plug that came out was 1.5 inches. There was 2 different sizes. There was 1 3/8 to 1.5, and then 1.5 to 1 5/8. So I got both. We'll see what fits in there. We got 2 of them to take care of. We'll yoink this thing up in the air, get those in first, dump in some used coolant. Hopefully it won't leak. If that doesn't leak, we can carry on to the rest of it. Quick tune up, set the carburetor, set the timing. And I mean, that's it. We just have to make it so it runs enough to go right around the block, because that's all that really matters. I ordered some things off Amazon. A different pressure switch and a different release valve for the compressor, so it'll be at the air tank max 120 to 150. So I think it's what this thing was maxed at or something like that. So we should be finding those things. What else we got going on? I think that's kind of it, but that'll be in the future. For right now, to make it run. Looks kind of cool. I really wish we could glue that side panel on, but maybe never. Well, this was a rather awful task. I had to lift the motor. But you can see there's one there and this one here. I can get light in there. Behind the motor mount was terrible. So hopefully that's it. The risk is, could be an ultimate fail if there's one like behind the bell housing or something like that. Be bad. So as you can see, as you tighten that up, it's just gonna squish this rubber outwards and make for a nice little seal. So we'll drop this down and put some coolant in it immediately and see if our shoes get wet. But I think, well, I hope, the thinking's a big no-no around DD Speed Shop. I'll check the other side, but from what I saw on that one, those ones look okay. And yeah, they don't got to hold a whole lot of pressure. I mean, obviously you crank them in there, it's probably only 16 or 20 pounds of pressure in the cooling system. This one has no rad cap on it, so there'll be 0. As long as it holds the coolant, we'll be fine for now. Ultimate fail. I was looking and right here, come on, light, right there. That is another frost plug. It's right behind the motor mount. That is going to suck big time. Big time, big time, big time. Well, maybe we could take the motor mount right out of this thing. Oh, what a task that's gonna be. Put coolant in your motors. It will save you frustration. Shit. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Ugh, what an absolute disaster. Oh, did I break my hammer? Oh, son of a bitch. That seems about right. Anyway, let's dump some coolant in here. Oh, there's a leaf in here. That's cool. Plug up the leaks. All right, our shoe's gonna get wet. So far, so good. I really hope there's no more leaks. That'll just make life so much easier. Well, that's cool in the rad now. Hopefully. Oh, I hear it gurgling. All right, well, we're a couple inches down on the rad. I think I got another miscellaneous coolant jug. Let that kind of settle. Maybe get another leaf out. Oh, maybe this one's gonna live in there. Nope, yep, nope, yep, okay. Well, let's sit for a minute. Hopefully it'll be okay. Now, I guess the real test will come. If you put a rad cap on, there's pressure and it pops those things out. But I think I got them in there pretty snug. Silence. Okay, see if we put another jug in there and then we'll carry on with the next task. So it took 2 gallons. It drank it all. Doesn't appear to be anything on the ground yet. And the oil level is still just oil. So we'll call that a win as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully for now, I'll have to go get another gallon of coolant or just dump some water in it. I think it's good for -40, so -30 to be fine. And yeah, let's do plug. So drop it down a little bit more now that I'm kind of confident. We can do plug wires, and we might just kind of go through all this and see, try and make sense of it. Now, a lot of this is going to be, that's the old coil. This is the distributor, but see stuff like this, which is, that must be alternator factory wiring maybe. Then it goes over here into whatever this may be and in to ground. Okay. So there's a little bit of cleanliness we need to do here, but really if you can kind of eliminate that, a lot of this looks pretty factory kind of stuff. The headlights did work. This is the old compressor wiring, so we can lose all that. There's actually a fair bit of stuff. I think it'll actually get cleaned up pretty quickly here. And we get a free relay. Ooh. Hopefully we got some constant 12 here, would be sweet. We could run a toggle to the compressor. And then, yeah, get some coolant in the thing, double check the transmission level again. We do have to run it. I haven't tuned it up enough there. Such a nice enough day, we can have to kind of door up and not completely freeze to death. And yeah, I think it has brakes. I hope it has brakes. Is there fluid in it? Wow. Well, there's fluid in there. Okay, well I shouldn't have looked in there. That was my mistake, honestly. Sorry, shouldn't have done that. Set the camera up, start going through some of this wiring. I gotta hook the battery up real quick. So we'll have 12 volts, we'll see what's constant power, what's switch power, and yeah, pretty good. Unfortunately, the air system did bleed down to 0 overnight on this gauge here. So obviously we have a leak, which we kind of knew, but we just got to mitigate that leak to be smaller. Okay, for the record, put more coolant in. It's fine, mint. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit of basic diagnoses. Now I found this. Now I assume this was fan. Based on hopes and dreams, but it has a fuse link here, and if you test it, it has 12 volts to it, constant. So odds are it's probably 12 volts constant. One of these was another fuse, a ground and a trigger. And if we follow this wire here, whatever this is, wow, okay. It had, I don't think it has any power. Nope, but let's see if it has switched power. The gull wings, eh? Brrr. That has switch 12, which it does. So that's probably what that was. So I don't think we need that. The other thing we have, I actually already checked this one. This has 12 volts and it has 12 volts on the crank, so we'll hook that up to the coil because we've been hot wiring it. This has nothing. I bet this is going to be tack wire being green, I think anyway, so we're going to hook that up to the negative. This is now not used, so really we can start trimming things. And hopefully my big sexy brain will remember all this stuff, but we'll just snip that So that's 12 volts constant, so we're going to use that for the compressor. This does what? This is, gets a ground wire. We don't need that. Okay, so that's all out. That we need. This is old distributor, which, T. Do I have one of those? Oh yeah, we're good. We have that. I'll have to remember to fix that. So that's old ignition. That's fine, that's safe. We don't need anything there. This is new ignition, which we can route a little nicer. And it immediately looks better, is that? So what else we got? That's headlights and stuff, so that's mint. Then we have this junk, which is just, what is this? Oh, this is old wiring from the old compressor setup, which we don't need. So we will eliminate that. I think. Where does this go? Nowhere, perfect. Okay, so that's junk. Cut that. So that we can actually take that whole piece right out. Oh no, it's got the pressure switch, so it's, oh, you know what? I think I have a cap. We can take that right out and cap that. So in case that is the leak that we need. Honestly, we just eliminated all sorts of ugliness here. So I'm gonna go through and just change a few things here. Where did I break that T from? So that is gonna be a vacuum leak, whatever I did there. Huh. I for sure broke it, but now I can't find it. Oh, right here. Okay, so big deal. Let's time lapse this. All right, so we cleaned up a lot of the wiring, so that should be pretty good. 12 volts to the compressor, I put on a toggle, it's working. I did open the doors once, so it went down. I put a cap over there, so that's pretty good. I think it's good, good. I changed the fuel filter. Oh no, the paint. It was pretty gungy. That's not great. Yeah, apparently, so I mean, obviously the tank here, I know Derek had some issues with it, but they're Gremlin? Hornet? I don't know what they are. But anyways, they don't repop them. So we're going to deal with what we have to deal with. Hopefully, we'll just run a few fuel filters and it'll slowly but surely take care of itself. So we've got the gas set up here. We're going to go ahead and I guess we're going to bottle feed it a little bit just because obviously it's got no fuel in that filter and it's going to suck some up. I did put like half a jerry can in And I probably already put a 1/2 inch. There's probably 5 gallons in there. Hopefully that's enough that it'll pick up something and run. And we'll go from there. It didn't run great before. We'll see if it runs any better now. I have a feeling there's vacuum leaks and all sorts of miscellaneousness, but if we can just make it so it runs in and out of the garage, that's all that really matters for me. Go for a quick ride around the block maybe maybe tomorrow or something like that. And then there you go. We have all winter. There's no point in rushing because all this white stuff on the ground really interferes with the fun time. But at least then we'll know it's not leaking, or not leaking terribly. And we can kind of keep carrying on. We're waiting on the hood and all that sort of stuff. I found to grab some glass. I mean, it's just one of those things. Hurry up and wait, unfortunately, in this car, which I know you guys love it. Love this hot rod. So let's still get the camera set up on the tripod, see if we can fire it up, get it running. I don't know. Maybe it'll idle. Okay. Let's see if we can get a little bit of fuel in the carburetor. I don't even know if this is the floats or whatnot, but squirted some. Just give her a little there. And it's in park, but we're off the ground, so who cares? That was easy. See, it picks up a little fuel. Yeah, looks like the filter picked some up. I don't know. It runs. It seems like it might have a bit of a miss there. Definitely jostling all over the place. Didn't suck any coolant down, so I guess it's fine. That's kind of boring. It's just running. Runs bad, but it runs. Let's just see here. I brought out the temp gun. See if all the, yeah, it's missing on this side. You can hear it popping and banging. 300 degrees, 300 degrees, 300 degrees, 120 degrees. So we got a dead miss there. She's not happy. Did I kick you guys? Sorry. 320, 330, just literally at 260, 200, 150, so we got a miss there. Where's the back one at? Also not happy. So we got 3 holes that are not firing. Seems like it doesn't want to idle, but then it picks up when you rev it. Carburetor's unhappy or something. Well, I smooth it out a little. No. It kind of, well, maybe. We just have a dirty carburetor. Running faster. Might just need to idle a little. Now it's running. Let's see what we got going on here. Anything? Still dead cold. Yeah, so we just got a miss. We got to kind of diagnose and see if it's maybe got no spark or what. Well, let's play with it. Runs better, but does still have a bit of a miss. Inside, got oil pressure is good. Temp still hasn't moved yet. Tachometer works like 800 RPM. But the big thing we're gonna do is the vacuum leaks. I honestly think that is like a huge part. So there's just random vacuum lines, so I started clamping some off. I plugged ones. I did all sorts of stuff, but it's happier. So it seems to, I don't know. Maybe that's just how Fords sound, I don't know. It seems like it's a little rough, way better than it was. I think my best bet, I think I do have some vacuum line, but spending a little bit of time tracing some vacuum lines, screwing around. The headlights aren't coming back down, and there's 2 vacuum lines around the switch, so I'm assuming that's what I blocked off. They're probably not reversing or something like that. All the vacuum lines. So this is like a piece I cut off, but if this was the end, like it's just, that's not a good vacuum line. Hard, broken, brittle. That will cause all kinds of problems. So we have the caps out, we have the T-spacers out, and we have vacuum line. I think that's what we're ultimately going to be doing here. But it's not leaking on my shoes. The back brakes, I do not think do anything. I think it just has front brakes, which based on the master cylinder being completely rusty, kind of par for the course. I don't know, it's kind of starting to smooth out a little bit. Maybe it just needs to run old gas, who knows? And honestly, not terrible. It is circulating coolant around. It's hot, even though it looks terrible. There's no gauge though. I thought the temp gauge worked. No, it's not moving. We'll have to track that down. I mean, this is the longest it's ran. It is starting to... It already sounds better. It's not so missy. Maybe that's just me being optimistic, but I'll let it run for a little bit, get some heat in the motor. I'll see what I have for vacuum lines. We'll just start tracing stuff, seeing what's what, seeing what's emission stuff that we can just cap right off. Because it's got all sorts of stuff. I don't even know what this is. Some sort of a... This pump has something. I don't know what this is. Accumulatory deal. And it dumps to nowhere. But it goes... I guess that goes in the intake. So that's some sort of a PCV kind of deal. Weird. But look how many little vacuum lines there are. And this block at the back, this is what's crazy. This thing here, these are all vacuum lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's craziness. And then it has all these splits. So vacuum comes in from the carburetor into this, which goes into 3, which comes out into a T and 2 singles. One of those goes into here, which is a double. Like, it's just madness. Madness with the vacuum lines. Let's run better. Oh yeah. It's running faster now. It's found some more vacuum leaks, I guess. This thing's so ridiculous. The doors still work. That's all that really matters. All right, well, see you shortly. You know, it's been a while since I've done a garage burnout. And I'm done for the night. I'm gonna do a little cleaning up, but might as well see if this will do it. If it'll start. If it'll start. It's got some sort of brakes. I guess it's the other side. We'll reset. Oh yeah, hang on, I got it. There we go. Problem solved. I nailed it. All right. As I was saying, let's do a little burnout. Yeah. Door down. Don't want to piss off the neighbors. Starts good, Mur. Fasten seatbelt light works. The door jar button doesn't. Ready? All right, car's pretty cool. Oh yeah, it's smoky in here. Been a while since I've done that. Well, oh, where are you guys? Hang on. Gotta go by feel, huh? Do I see you there? Getting close. I'll see you tomorrow, maybe for a test drive. New day. Think this thing will make it for a ride around the block, darling?
Sure do.
All right, well, we got it unblocked. I need to build a ramp for this hot rod. So we're just gonna take it for a quick little test drive. And I think ultimately, this thing is probably gonna have a bit of a brake. Look at that. Now I don't know if it has brakes on it. It seems like the fronts were holding, but the backs did not during that burnout, obviously. So I guess we'll see what happens. Ah. Oh. A little tight. Oh yeah, it's got something. Am I good? All good noises? It's actually super convenient to look around. Hey, you want me to get the door for you?
Well, thank you.
Hop in.
What a gentleman.
I'm pretty classy, what can I say?
Okay. Will you close my door now? I have to say, I'm very scared of like, dust.
Of dust?
No, but of like maybe not having my whole body in or something, or my arm out, and then my arm gets chopped off.
Well, it's got a... I need a lower seat.
Man, I don't know how Derek did this for so many hours.
The other seat was lower. We're already stuck. For a safety vehicle one, there is no visibility on the back. The shifter is very dainty.
Oh my gosh! We are in a running, driving Bricklin!
Supercar. This is ridiculous. That runs bad. But it runs. Do I look as cool as I feel?
No!
Got good oil pressure. The tachometer seems to be working. Well, it must have gears. First, second. I don't know if it went in third or not there. It's got something. Yeah.
I should have wore it too, because it's a little chilly.
Yeah, it's a little chilly. Looks like the brakes are dragging or something. Sounds like it anyways. Oh, there's no signal lever. Oh yeah.
So did you put gas in it?
I put 5 gallons in. I could have went to the gears. It did something. Yeah. All 3 gears in the transmission. Man, this thing is something.
I like it.
It needs lower seats. Fire extinguisher's rattling back there. Oh yeah. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Man, I feel, I don't know how I feel, Put her in low gear. Is that door latched?
I think so.
You want to do a donut? Think it'll do a donut? Supercar donuts, they're called? We're stuck. Oh yeah! I can't see anything. Stuck on flat ground was a little embarrassing. Actually, we really shouldn't break this thing so we don't have a tow truck to tow it home with.
No.
This thing is so stupid.
You don't want to take a picture?
Oh, hang on. Is that what you want to do?
We're here.
I can't see out the back. Is there any curbs there?
Yes, for your job room. That guy in a little car.
Be a hot rod. Oh, it smells like coolant. Okay. Hang on.
I'll be fast.
No, hang on. I'll get the door for you here.
Oh, thank you. Woohoo!
I might need a little help.
I'm scared of it.
It's like...
I'm very scared of it.
It's a safety vehicle 1. You're fine. All right, so you want to reenact like a scene from either The Junkman or Dead Something Auto, if the movie is. It's actually getting better. I mean, it was just cold. It's got a bit of a little stumble there, but... It's so quiet.
It is quiet.
Florida mufflers. It smells like coolant.
Yes.
You may have a heating issue in the winter. That guy dug it. Oh yeah, this thing is like speedy.
I quite like it.
It's really not that bad, other than it's awful.
That should be the shirt. The
Oh.
Bricklin. It's really not bad, except there's a lot of dust blowing around it.
Yeah, a cute puppy there. Yeah, if it wasn't so awful, it'd be great. Okay. I'm so glad I look cool driving it at least. Well, something's rattling back there. I don't know what it could be other than the tools.
Oh, yeah, it is. Is it like the paint can, maybe?
No, something feels like it's on your side.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh! I wonder if I tied the airline back up after I modified it.
Ah.
That could be it. Oh, I just gotta lean back. Lean back. It's really not that bad. I mean, it's cozy.
I like it.
It's cozy. It's a good car for you and Mur.
Yeah, I think Mer and I will enjoy shared custody.
And I'll drive my Chop-Off Chevrolet. Anyway, we made her home. I mean, not really a shocker, obviously. This thing did run and drive, but we'll go ahead and park it. When we move everything else around in the yard, Dee Dee's Speed Shop, another project. Oh! Oh!
Clearance.
Well, it's a supercar. They are low to the ground. I'm not used to that. That was a big clunk. Well, thanks so much for watching. As always, make sure to leave a comment below. I'm glad I've converted you guys from haters to slightly less angry. And we'll carry on with something else in the next video. Because surely it's been enough Bricklin content, right? Or do you want more? See you later.